Immediately the aliens divided themselves into two factions. The first faction advocated the immediate destruction of all human beings. Their reasoning was that they had no right to manipulate life on this planet, and by their actions, they had caused incalculable damage with no way to know the full extent of what could happen. The second faction advocated letting the humans live because once life had begun they had no moral right to terminate it. What to do now? Mother Earth, Father Doom. It only hurts for a moment. The theory of an intelligent Earth has a name too, Gaia. What is the hypothesis of Gaia? Stated simply, the idea is that we may have discovered a living being bigger, more ancient, and more complex than anything from our wildest dreams. That being, called Gaia, is the Earth. More precisely, that about 1 billion years after its formation our planet was occupied by a meta-life, which began an ongoing process of transforming this planet into its own substance. All the life forms of the planet are part of Gaia. In a way analogous to the myriad different cell colonies which make up our organs and bodies, the life forms of Earth in their diversity co-evolve and contribute interactively to produce and sustain the optimal conditions for the growth and prosperity not of themselves, but of the larger whole, Gaia. That the very makeup of the atmosphere, seas, and terrestrial crust is the result of radical interventions carried out by Gaia through the evolving diversity of living creatures. Encountering the Earth from space, a witness would know immediately that the planet was alive. The atmosphere would give it away. The atmospheric compositions of our sister planets, Venus and Mars, are 95-96 carbon dioxide, 3-4% nitrogen, with traces of oxygen, argon and methane. The Earth's atmosphere at present is 79 nitrogen, 21 oxygen with trace of carbon dioxide, methane and argon. The difference is Gaia, which transforms the outer layer of the planet into environments suitable to its further growth. For example, bacteria and photosynthetic algae began some 2.8 billions of years ago extracting the carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen into the atmosphere, setting the stage for larger and more energetic creatures powered by combustion, including, ultimately, ourselves. That is how James Lovelock discovered Gaia. From outer space. In the 1960s, during the space race, which followed the launching of Sputnik, he was asked by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and NASA to help design experiments to detect life on Mars. The Viking lander gathered and tested some Martian soil for life with no results. Lovelock had predicted as much. By analyzing the atmosphere of Mars, it is in a dead equilibrium. By contrast, the atmosphere of Earth is in a far from equilibrium state, meaning that there was some other complex process going on which maintained such an unlikely balance. It occurred to him that if the Viking lander had landed on the frozen waste of Antarctica, it might not have found any trace of life on Earth either. But a sure giveaway would be a complete atmospheric analysis, which the Viking lander was not equipped to do. Lovelock's approach was not popular at NASA because NASA needed a good reason to land on Mars, and the best was to look for life. Viking found nothing on Mars, but Lovelock had seen the Earth from the perspective of an ET looking for evidence of life. And he began thinking that what he was seeing was not so much a planet adorned with diverse life forms, but a planet transfigured and transformed by a self-evolving and self-regulating living system. By the nature of its activity it seemed to qualify as a living being. He named that being Gaia, after the Greek goddess, which drew the living world forth from chaos. The name of the living planet, Gaia, is not a synonym for the biosphere, mat part of the Earth where living things are seen normally to exist. Still less is Gaia the same as the biota, which is simply the collection of all individual living organisms. The biota and the biosphere taken together form a part but not all of Gaia. Just as the shell is part of the snail, so the rocks, the air, and the oceans are a part of Gaia. Gaia, as we shall see, has continuity with the past back to the origins of life, and in the future as long as life persists. Gaia, as a total planetary being, has properties that are not necessarily discernible by just knowing individual species or populations of organisms living together. Specifically, the Gaia hypothesis says that the temperature, oxidation, state, acidity, and certain aspects of the rocks and waters are kept constant, and that this homeostasis is maintained by active feedback processes operated automatically and unconsciously by the biota. Even the shifting of the tectonic plates, resulting in the changing shapes of the continents, may result from the massive limestone deposits left in the earth by bioforms eons ago. You may find it hard to swallow the notion that anything as large and apparently inanimate as the earth is alive. Surely, you may say, the earth is almost wholly rock, and nearly all incandescent with heat. The difficulty can be lessened if you let the image of a giant redwood tree enter your mind.